some artists are very successful, but people are not investing. And of course, yes, people will say we did not grow up being taught about finances. Yes and no. Yes and no. Sometimes I really say it's because we want to look for somebody to blame. We can't start making our women feel like if a woman is earning enough, so much money, you should not be so successful. And sometimes they're told it, hey, your people are saying like, now that you have a car, sasa ndio hautapata mwanaume. Oh, now that you have a house, oh, you nata hautapata mwanaume. Oh, you get what I mean? Like if you're so successful, it scares men. I mean, let them get scared. Hi guys, I'm Dr. Zippy Okoth. I am a filmmaker and a storyteller. I am a lecturer of film at KCA University, and today we are going to talk about a lot of things, from career to dreams to vision to, I don't know what to call them, but we are going to have a lovely conversation, just maybe I can call it how we got here. It's a beautiful thing. For having been among the first trainees to begin with in this theater, because now film training in this country started in 2008. Every industry must grow. Everything takes a process. People always like comparing Kenyans and Nigerians. First and foremost, Nigeria got its independence how many years before Kenya? The reason why independence is very important in looking at the progress of many people is that is also the same reason why we are ahead of South Africa in a lot of things. Because Nigeria was ahead in independence, it means it started having its own administration, its own education for its locals earlier. Training for theater, in Nigeria started in the 60s, in 1960s. And when I say training, I mean the universities in Nigeria were training people about theater in the 1960s, not literature. While in Kenya, it started in the year 1998. That is the first time there was a degree called Bachelor of Arts in Drama and Theater in this country. And am I among the third or fourth lot to have that degree in this country? So like the first people were like 5 people graduated. Second, our class, I think we were 11. By the time we were graduating, I think we were like 9. Yeah. So if it's a 30-year difference, it means as Kenyans, we say, oh, Nigerians are foul. Can people be like Nigerians? Walk the talk. We have to have enough institutions training people on film and theater at all levels, from certificate, diploma, degree. Training is the core of any industry, whether it's the creative industry, whether it's education, whether it is juakali artmanship, in any area, even the people who are making the seats. Why are we still importing like this kind of chairs from Turkey and all? It's because when did we start making such kind of chairs as Kenyans? So we call it apprenticeship at any level. Takes time. People learn, and the more people learn, the better they get. I always say, as a teacher, if my students are not better than me, then I wasn't a good teacher. You can't say you're a good teacher when you are the only best. Now, when you're then where is the progress? There must be evolution. There must be innovation in every field. So students must be better. I actually get very excited when I hear some of my students are performing like they're having theater. I must go because I want to see what are they doing. Like the other day in Gatia, Brian was having a show. It was like a poetry show. I was like, I have to go. Tracy Kibeo was having also another one. As in, I get so excited to see some of my former students having theater shows. And I think I can proudly say 15 years down the line, I'm proud of the number of universities that are now training people in film, the colleges that have come up. We have ADMI. They say ADMI was one of the colleges, I think it had a previous name earlier on, and then right now it is giving you a diploma and a certificate. Like, there is a lot of what I call structured training. Let me call it like that. Structured training is important because what you will learn in 5-10 years through experience, structured training you can take only 2 or 4 years. So somebody can say to you, oh, there is always this debate. Oh, those people who have gone to universities are not as good as those who have learned. I'm like, it depends on who you're talking to, you know. These ones who have gone to universities, I have my good students, I have my poor students. These ones who have learned on the field, there are also those who have made it, those who gave up because they couldn't. So it's not about where somebody has learned. It's the consistency, it's the value that students put into that work. And generally, I keep saying this, that in any class, even in our class, like I've said, we graduated 9 of us. I think only 3 of us are in the industry. Yes, the rest are in insurance, banking, ICT, you know. And that is everywhere, not just in the arts. Even those who study education, like to go and become teachers in primary or lower or high school, only 30 or 40% become teachers. The rest go work with NGOs, some go and do businesses, some just decide they'll just be housewife or house husbands, you know, some go into farming. Yeah, so until Kenyans start looking at education differently, I feel like education is not, how to put it? It is not to give you the exact skill. Like when I was learning, we didn't have these cameras. We were taught with the DV cam, where we used to put the VHS tape inside. That's what we learned with. So it's not even about the camera, it's about the technique. Yeah. Whether you went to school 20 years ago, now you'll still be told what kind of angles are there. You know, how many shots do you need? Close up, extreme, you know, medium, wide. It's the technique remains, even if the cameras and the technology changes, because it's about the technique. I think there's a lot that's happened. There's room for so much more, especially now that we are having artificial intelligence. But I think artificial intelligence is a beautiful thing. Yes, we should not be scared of it. It makes work easier. As human beings, we want to make work easier so as to give us time to enjoy the pleasures of life. That's how I look at it. Yeah, we invented washing machines so that we can have more time to play with the children. Dishwashers, you know, yeah, things like that. Though unfortunately, people, instead of spending more time with each other, people are now more on gadgets. But I think the essence of technology is so as to make work easier so that we can make family and friendships better. That's how I look at it. As a child, I loved poetry. I really, really loved poetry. I think during every school event, I used to say a poem. And it's my mother who used to write for me the poems. Yes. She used to write for me poems of, like, you know, those poems titled Mom, you know, titled Africa, titled... Yeah, she used to write for me those poems from a very tender age, by the way, from as early as I think class 1, 2, 3, 4. My mom used to write for me a lot of poems, and when I go to school, I think the only thing that missed is we didn't have social media or cameras then. Otherwise, I think my mom could have been the time my mom could be taking videos of me through and putting on social media for people to see her daughter. Because I think she never missed our school event. And after you've performed that poem, she could clap loudly and tell you, that's my daughter, that's my daughter. And even singing. Yeah, my voice was very big. In fact, people think my voice is big now. It was bigger. I think it was deeper. I think it has become slightly not as deep. Or rather, either I'm used to it. So I couldn't fit in the choir. Yeah, because my voice was deep. But I easily got soloist roles. Because when you have a deep voice and you're a soloist, it means, one, your voice can project well. And when you are the soloist, watu hawanyongwi na sauti, if you have a deep voice. So a lot of times I could be soloist and, you know, and then when you're soloist and people start, my mother had this habit. when you're the soloist, she becomes the first person to come and put money. Then now the people come. So she used to say that even one of my sisters, also when she was in school, she used to be a soloist. She says, people don't care what you've put. Come and 50 bob. Now the other honorables who are there will feel embarrassed and they'll come and put. You get what I mean? But if not even one parent stands up to go and put anything, then nobody will stand. So she was always the first person to come, and then she puts her teddy and she dances with it, and she goes, then people come and they contribute. And you know, of course, as a school, the teacher will take it, divide for people. Yeah, so I think that for me as a performing artist, I can say my mother really gave me support until I decided this is what I want to study. Then it was no longer a pleasant thing. So it was good as a hobby, as an extracurricular. But then as a career, I was told even as we did those drama in school, yeah, but you don't have to study. My mother was a teacher by profession. My dad is a lawyer by profession. And they just wanted the best for me. So basically, I had those two choices. My father really wanted me to be a lawyer. I think I could still have made a great lawyer. Sometimes I think I could still have made a great lawyer. Yeah, there are times when the industry has been so tough until I have thought, maybe I should just have studied law. Yeah, but I think at least the last 5-10 years, it has been better. But those first years, it's just that you had been told as a firstborn, whatever you have studied, if you go and come back here that you don't have a job. So after negotiating, we agreed that I was going to study communication and media studies because at least we had seen Elizabeth Omolo on TV. And so it was like, I can be a presenter. That's a career. You know, it's different from this other one. It was being called those things of Othorongo. You know, so it was totally different. You know, even the term that was being used to describe it was not very pleasant. So we agreed that I'm going to study communication and media, and I went to Maseno University, registered, and then day of orientation, we are being told you have 2 weeks within which you can change courses if you want. I changed to drama and theatre studies, Bachelor of Arts in Drama and Theatre Studies, the one that I really wanted. And everybody at home had said no. Anytime I tried acting, let me just put it like acting, because I mean, we're not really directing. Everybody could get so happy and excited. In our school, Sango Academy, where I went for my primary school, when I was in class 7, that was the first time we ever did, a play. There was a teacher who came and, you know, I think he was one of the teacher trainees. And he decided to do drama with us. And I was the main actress. It was called The Cherished Fruit. That was the first time I ever went into drama festivals, and I went up to the nationals with that play. And I was like, everybody was like, who's this girl? We've never seen her, you know. And I went to school. So I'd gone to school early, so I was looking like that, you know, that short, tiny, fat little girl. You know? And everyone was like, oh, that was so nice, that was so nice. You get what I mean? And it was pleasing, it was pleasant. You get what I mean? And the teacher was like, I cram things like without effort. Even up to now, I cram things without effort. I think if I really put effort, I could cram the whole Bible. If I put effort, I've just not put enough effort. Sorry, God. Yeah, but then after that, now when I went to high school, that very first term, I went to high school on my birthday, 6th Feb, so I can't really forget. Yeah. And that same week, I was the only Form 1 in drama club. I was told Form 1s are not allowed. Yeah, there's nothing they'll do and all that kind of stuff. But I sat there. And one day, you know the way somebody just misses rehearsal, and the trainer, the teacher, he was called Mr. Ching, said, in your Zippy Okoth Form 1. Yes, then, where's the script? Do you know, but just by watching this girl every day, I had crammed her lines. the teacher said, give this girl a role. So I was put into the dance, the dramatized dance, and I was doing some really serious role there. And that time I was the only Form 1 in the drama club. And I mean, from there, Asumika was not very active in drama, but we did well. In second time, I was doing verse speaking, solo verse speaking. They say that there's always the set piece, the own composition, public speaking, and as in I was in all the solo categories. I was always in all the solo categories available. Like you go to a festival and you hear, there's another category, you can just register. Because there was, those, like public speaking, there was the one for mixed, the one for girls only, the one for boys only. And I could do those things. And until when in Form 4, I had to be told that Form 4s are not allowed to participate in these things. I don't know whether your school was like mine. But I went to the principal's office. I sat outside that principal's office waiting to talk to her so that I can be allowed to participate. And I asked her, Sister Barbara, I'd really like to participate in the solo speaking. I beg you. Because that time she has crossed all the names. These names are not going to the festival. She looked at me and she said, but I'm warning you, if you drop even with 1 mark, you are not going to proceed. Go. You threatened me like that. Let me tell you, I had never performed that better. And that was the very first time that I went with my solo verse to the nationals. KICC. Yes. KICC. And so for me, it's that thing of like, I don't know, during prize giving days, the classes, we could be told every class to prepare something, I could just write a skit, like just 10 pages, write a script, and tell my classmates, let's cram, we divide roles, we cram, we rehearse, and the day they are looking at all the performances so that they can choose which ones to be presented on the prize giving day, ours was always kind of like automatic. It used to be taken. Basically, our structures in the Kenyan society stem a lot from what we have seen in the past. I say people want to associate more with successful stories. So until people started seeing, this is somebody who studied theater and they are doing well, then that becomes a motivation for parents to allow their children to study the same thing. That's why sometimes I tell people, hey, let people see Zippy ameweza. Because for me, it is a motivation to someone that even in this creative arts, if you give it your all, you can make it. Yeah, because for a long time, we have always just known artists are suffering, artists are always begging, artists are always, it's always like, it's made to look worse than all the others, yet everybody's getting sick around at the hospital and people are having harambes. But when it's an artist, it is like, artists are suffering. Everybody in Kenya is suffering. Some artists are very successful, but people are not investing. And of course, yes, people will say we did not grow up being taught about finances. Yes and no. Yes and no. Sometimes I really say it's because you want to look for somebody to blame. But yes, we grew up in families where talking about money was, you can't even ask your parents for money. When you're giving money by an uncle or a gift, you give to your mother. Yes, we did not value money as much. But now that you're an adult and you are getting your salary of 20,000, unaona rent ni ngapi, how long will it take you to learn the value of this money? Because if you have really endured enough to get to this job where you're getting this salary, you're getting this 20 per month and all that, rent is this amount. If I need to save so that I can be sure that if this salary in 6 months, I don't have it, can I afford a rent even for 1 month? You get what I mean? So with salary of 20, most probably your rent should be like 6,000-7,000, right? Because you really say a third of your salary should go to rent or less. So if that 7,000 should go to your rent and you're not saving enough, even 2K for emergencies, do you still want to blame our parents for not having taught us financial sense? Some of these things are also just about general wisdom, looking around you, thinking of your past. If, like most Kenyans, you started with a lower salary and you have grown, then you can't be getting your salary and just eating it because tomorrow there's another salary. You have to understand that if if I am getting this salary and at one point my first salary was this amount, then I have to learn to save. But Kenyans, we change our lifestyle. Yeah, like, my salary is 70,000. Now I'm being paid 100. I'm moving from Rongai to Kilimani. So you're like, instead of saving that 30,000 top up, you are increasing your expenditure. And then you say people don't understand because we are so much into trying to please people. We forget our journey. I think personally for me, I made it work. When I went to look for internship, my first internship, I went to Nation Media Group. In my head, I wanted to be on Nation TV for my internship and nothing else. Do you know I used to go to that reception for 2 weeks? I was sitting there morning to evening, like when I pick up at 8 a.m. with a like luminous green jumper. I've never forgotten that jumper of mine. Luminous green jumper. I sat there every time, like until one day, this lady asked me, who are you waiting for? I have applied for internship and I am waiting to be called. So do you have an appointment? Do you know? And then she told me, get in and talk to the HR. She was called Liz. And I went and I talked to that lady. And she said, I hear you've been out here every day. So, yeah, what do you want? I want to work on TV. As what? I don't know. I just want to learn. I want to produce entertainment. I've done theater. Like I talked. And the lady looked at me and said, you look like a very interesting girl. Yeah, and she called Ogechi Murage, who is my current really good friend right now. She has got Media Pros Africa distribution company. That time now, she was the producer of the show. Yeah. And they put me on her show, which was called Showbiz, where there used to be, you go to every show that's happening, entertainment show, and you record and you report, you know. It was nice. I met quite a number of people who've been also impactful to me once I came into the industry. Yeah, but for me, it's that resilience of knowing this is where I want to be, no matter what. And I remember Liz, the lady who gave me the internship, she told me, Zippy, we are not going to pay you as an intern, but you look very promising. I want you to take this job and do it with all you have. Don't worry about money. One day you are going to get money and you're going to buy yourself a 6,000 dress. She said 6,000 dress. Let me tell you, the day I afforded a 6,000 dress, I remember that. God rest her soul. Yeah, she passed on, I think, sometime back, could have been 10 years or so, but I think that really motivated me. And of course, beside that, she gave me advice. She was really impressed that I had been coming to wait there every day. So she was like, you don't have to sleep with anyone to get an opportunity. This is good and all that kind of stuff. And I think for me, I really took that home, knowing that Zippy, I was in this reception for 2 weeks and I managed to get into this place that I wanted without fucking anyone. I think for me, that was a great motivation. Yeah. So, the other day we had KTN is being closed because, I don't know whether it was a rumor because of syphilis. Yeah, like, it is not something I would want my students to hear. You get it? Because why would we have such a news about a station? You get it? Yeah, it means that is the moral code that's going with our industry. And that is what scares parents. As a parent, if you heard that a whole station is being closed for such a reason, then it's not good. Because, the same narrative, there was a time where we told, if you go to the National Theatre, you have to take bangi and all that kind of stuff, And right now, the National Theatre is a totally different place. It's clean. There are no bangi takers. And this is something that I tell my students. One, for me, you cannot come to my class drunk. You cannot even come to my own set drunk, even to my show as a castle crew drunk. No, even theater show. If you have to taste whatever it is, the alcohol, bangi, or smoke anything to get your lines, then for me, it means you're not a professional because nobody goes to their office drunk to enable them to work. So then it means then you're not talented as far as I'm concerned. If you need intoxication to perform, then you are not talented. In my opinion, I know people will be like, if this is a profession, if this is what's supposed to pay your bills, then you have to give it the respect it deserves. Just like you go to an office, people drink after work. Let's drink after work. Let's smoke after work, but not as you work. Because also, acting is a very intimate profession. So if you're intoxicated and this is the person you're acting with is not, it doesn't feel good. You get it? So just by respecting the space, so the other people you're working with, I always feel it's something we have to take seriously. So I believe things are changing, one, because we are training. Yeah, and of course, I can't say that all the students I've trained have come out well, but I think 70% of the people I've trained make me feel proud. After internship at NTV, I went back to school, of course. That was third year internship. Then I had another internship at Ramogi Radio. At Ramogi Radio, I am the one who introduced the program called Tutinda, the children's program, which is running until now. Ramogi Radio. But anyway, it's that thing that they say, when you introduce something as an intern, you do not own the copyright. Because it's like, when you do something as a student, it belongs to the institution in you. So it's one of those things I can't say to you, oh, it's mine. I'm like, I was an intern. They gave me an opportunity. They gave me an opportunity to be on air. Yeah, and I was on air in Ramogi 10 to noon. Every Monday to Friday, and on Saturday I introduced that kids show, which is still on up to now. Yeah, that was my show. Tutinda. Even the jingle and everything. Like, I curated that show. I hosted it for the 3 months that I was there and left it on because Maseno was too far this side, and the money they were offering, they were telling me they could give me that time 5,000. Yet the bus to and fro minimum I need was 8,000, so it was not making any sense. As a student, 3,000 is a lot. So I decided to let go of that dream. But once I graduated, I joined an institution called Institute of Performing Artists Limited. It was an NGO by Mudamba, who's now at DocuBox. There's Mweni Lundi, who I think also, she's still a TFD facilitator, but she also works with Twaweza Communications. We also had Catherine Kariuki, who God rest her soul in peace, but she introduced me to drama therapy, which is something I felt so passionate about. I used it as my focus for my master's research and even for my PhD research on drama therapy. It's the use of drama for healing purposes. So that time they were doing it at Langata Women's Prison. And I thought, this is fun, this is different, you get it? Like, you use drama and people are able to share through theater. People, they're not professional theater artists, but because they're getting involved in sharing, it makes them feel at ease. And in the unconsciousness of the theater, people share things because they feel safe. Because everybody, at that time, there's a very thin line between truth and fiction. But as a therapist, fiction can only come from someone's truth. When you understand that fiction is someone's truth somewhere, even the books that we read, every fiction is someone's truth, then you understand that drama therapy, in that session, every person's fiction, whether it's a truth or a lie, is either their truth or a truth of somebody very close to them. So I loved that, and I focused on drama therapy. For my master's, I did drama therapy at the Madari Drug Rehabilitation Unit, and then for my PhD, I did drama therapy for survivors of FGM. Yeah, that one I am not supposed to say the name always because of protection. So I worked with them from February. I went to interview for a different job and they gave me a job. So I went to interview for a job as a program coordinator, and I didn't get the job. Then they called me, they say, we really liked you during the interview. So we have another person taking that position, but we are wondering if you would be willing to come in as our administrator. And I was being paid 25,000 right from college, and we are talking about 2006. I said, why not? Everybody I knew was earning 5,000, 6,000, 10,000. I mean, after tax, I was taking home 21,000. I was a rich girl. Yeah. But then I was saving 15,000 every month. I was only using 6,000. Low maintenance. And I saved, and in October, I paid for my own master's at University of Nairobi. And I started doing my master's. Then now, because the class was taking too much time and all that kind of stuff, I couldn't be able to do everything in the office. So I resigned from the office. I started a kids club called Silk Theatres Kids Club around Lavington. Then I also worked with Frank Njenga at Bustani doing drama therapy there at Bustani. Nowadays it's a big hospital, very big hospital. Yes, and then I continued doing, TFD, Theatre for Development, like community theatre. I continued working with NGOs like PATH, WAFA, CAMREF, as a facilitator, training of trainers in these communities, Korogocho, Mathare, talking to people about reproductive health, about that time HIV was still a big thing. Yeah, so reproductive health, HIV, water, water guard. Yeah. Yes, because, you need to use water guard so that you don't get cholera and stuff. This is NGO stuff. So you use theater to train people and all that kind of stuff. So you train youth leaders who are now going to train the others and the community and stuff. Yeah, and we did a good job, as in we had even like Magnet Theatre with PATH. And that was the first time I was on a flight. I went to Uganda because of this theater of ours. At that time, I had released music, and so I was also a musician. I had a song, Nalilia Busu, playing on air, and we could do some small gigs here and there. A music video playing on the beat was not a small thing during that time. Yeah. And then I joined Spotlight on Kenyan Music, and my song was among the I was shortlisted among the top 10 of that. That was 2006. Yeah, so things were doing well. Things were doing really well until I got married. Then, in my creative career, things were going really well. Things were going really well, yes. So I think then, so I can say then there was a pause for 5 years. Yeah, from 2008 till 2013. So in 2013, when I was teaching at Kenyatta University, Kenya was celebrating 50 years in 2013. And so, KU being the home of creative arts, wanted to do something really big. So the committee that had been set up, they were trying to come up with ideas, but I was not in that committee. Then I was co-opted into that committee. And I was like, why don't we do a musical? And I was like, yeah, that's different. Show us how. And I was given time to go, and then I went and I wrote a musical, kind of like a detailed synopsis. And everybody liked it, and they said, let's go and pitch it to Professor Mugenda first. If she likes it, fine. If she doesn't. And when we went there, she was like, that is it. That's what we're doing. And we did it. And that musical was, I think, the best that year. It was, we created a musical where we were using all Kenyan composed songs since 1963 to 2013 throughout a musical love story. And people watched. That thing was watched by approximately, I can say maybe 12,000 people, because we had it in the amphitheater, which is a capacity of 3,000 people. And for 3 consecutive days, it was full. Insiders and outsiders. And then the MD Nation came and said, he loves it. Let's take it to the National Theatre. And they sponsored it to the National Theatre. And we had there also a whole weekend run. That made me feel I am back. Yes. Like, I am back. Yeah, I want to do this. So from there, that was now in 2013. So 2013, it was basically about that musical throughout the year. Then now in 2014, I did another one, another play, and then another play like Tigo, the musical. I did Contract Love. These are plays that I had written. So I just got into mode of producing theater musicals. Yes, and it was beautiful. It gave, because now I felt like I was doing theater and I was still doing music. Yes, there was just something. Yeah, and I finished my PhD. So in 2014, December, I graduated with my PhD in theatre art, the first PhD in theatre arts from a Kenyan university. And my parents were really proud. They were very proud. They were very proud of me. I could feel it, yes. They came, we had a nice party here. We went home, we had another party. It was beautiful. Yeah, and from there now I was restructuring my life, because here I was trying to find my foot back, trying to heal also. People get the healing moment. Yeah, and then, just writing. And then I decided, let me now do one-woman shows. So in 2018, February 14th, on we say Lover's Day or Valentine's Day, I did my first ever one-woman show called Stranger in My Bed, from the diary of a divorced woman. So I was like, why Valentine's Day? I'm like, I don't know, it's a love story. I was like, it's a divorced story. I'm like, all divorced stories are love stories. We sold out. Yeah, we sold out. You say people love stories, Justus. So when people say, okay, Zippy's show sell out, it's because people love authenticity. Yeah, and when talk about authenticity, is it a Kenyan original? No, it's about, being a Kenyan story is about a Kenyan telling the story in the realest way they can tell it. And I think that's why people love my stories. Like, it is Zippy's story. It is Zippy's true story. People love true stories because it bears the nakedness that they cannot show us. There's nothing new under the face of the earth. My story is not unique to myself. But somebody being able to listen to it feels like at least their story has been told through Zippy. And I think in a way it heals them too. So I've currently done, are they 5 or 6? Yeah, I've done Stranger in My Bed, I've done Strange Voices, I've done Agatha Hopeless Romantic, Side Chick Wife, Mama's Mirror, Zanzi Madness. Those are 6 one-woman shows. I loved Mama's Mirror. It was different. It was about me and my mother. And my mother passed on in August of 2021. And we were very close. We were very, very close. So I felt like I needed to just tell her story. I don't know whether I honored her or not. But, yeah, my mother was a good person, but she was an African mother. So I told her story like an African daughter. The lessons I learned, the quarrels we had, and because when you come to Zippy's show, I bear it all. It heals me, kind of. So, yeah, I talked about the quarrels we had, the disagreements, the laughters we had. Me and my mother laughed. We talked at least every week, and if we are busy, at least every 2 weeks. In fact, if 2 weeks repeat, it's like, are you okay? Mbona umeninyamazia hivyo? You get it. So it was, the show was heavy. So I talked about from the moment I was a kid, knowing my mother, up to the time of her death, up to, like, looking at her from the time when I had a baby, when I lost my child, when I completed campus, the day she came to pick me, the day she dropped me in campus. My mother is the one who dropped me in campus. The day she came to pick me, she bought me my first suit for graduation. She said, no, you have to wear a short skirt for graduation because the gown is long. So she sent me 3,000 shillings to buy myself a skirt suit. I bought it at, there was this place opposite the cooperative, the Bomb Blast. There was a boutique place. People used to go and buy skirts there. I don't know what happened to it. It was called, forgetting the name. And I went and bought myself a nice skirt suit there of 3,000. Yeah, she said, no, not long, short. Yeah, yes. And we made stories about that. And my mother was also a storyteller. She told me about, growing up, she could tell us about the men she dated before my father. So she was a true storyteller. I think she taught me through stories. Yes, and she taught a lot of people through stories. And she was very straightforward and open person. So I think for me, that was one of my best one-woman shows because it wasn't about me. It was about my mother. And I call it Mama's Mirror because, when you're young, you think of your mother and honey, Lewy, Then the older you grow, you realize you're becoming so much like her until you're like, wow. There are photos I look at and I'm like, shit. My mom loved red. And she used to say, the brighter the lipstick, the younger you look. The darker the lipstick, the older you look. So there are a lot of things, telling me when I turned 35, she said, now you have to buy vitamin E and start applying on your face, vitamin E helps with, anti-aging or whatever. And I'm like, because I've always been, I am one of those people who I think skincare routine, I thank God. I really thank God. I was a Vaseline person for a long time. So, yeah, she really taught us in a lot of things. Seeing it's important for a woman to wear heels, because if you wear flat shoes, you walk like a duck. So that show was really great for me. Then I have also done feature films. I've done, my first feature film was Midlife Crisis. Then that one was an independent film. Then I've also done 2 films commissioned by eminent Showmax. That is Contract Love and Sisters Alone. You can find those ones on Showmax right now. Then I've also done Do or Die. Then now lately I've done Otis Janam, which if you have not yet watched Otis Janam, you should. It's on my Movies Africa. It's a beautiful story. When we were having the read through, because this is a story I wrote a long time ago. I wrote this story in campus, and like 20 years ago. So it was not called Otis Janam then. So I wrote it like that time, and then I have rewritten it 3 times by the time it was being produced. Because sometimes you hear there's a grant here, there's somebody who can help you produce it, then you share it with them, then the money never comes through, and you're like, it is that one script that I never just wanted to do because I had to do it in Homa Bay, near the lake and stuff like that. So at last we did that, and it's a story that I'm very passionate about. I wrote it 20 years ago, and I did it 20 years later. It was as relevant. And now, the actors reading it, they could feel like, this is so you, this is you, this character is you. Like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's me. I never felt that, but when we went to the editing suite, because during editing you watch again, and you start feeling every line on your head. You're like, all these are lines that I have said before. And this feels like so like my story and all that, always breaking boundaries to have my voice heard. I think that's me, always breaking my boundaries to have my voice heard. Yeah, because sometimes as women, we've been told or we've been made to believe, right now there's masculine and feminine. And I was asking someone the other day, so what do you mean by masculine and feminine? Because it's not about weight and muscle. Women should not talk loudly. Okay, my voice is already big, so next. You get it? Yeah, so it's that thing of like, a woman should not be so aggressive, should not be too ambitious, should not be. I'm like, we can't start making our women feel like if a woman is earning enough, so much money, you should not be so successful. And sometimes they're told it, hey, your people are saying like, now that you have a car, sasa ndi hautapata mwanaume. Oh, now that you have a house, oh, you naza hautapata mwanaume. Oh, you get what I mean? Like if you're so successful, it scares men. Let them get scared. It scares them, those who are meant to be scared, so that it filters, and then you now have a better selection point of focus. But then, funny enough, I think it's all about social stereotyping. Yeah, it doesn't matter. There are men who are rich, but still their mentality is that thing of they want a housewife. You get what I mean? People understand submission differently. I think that people believe submission is where you don't have and you have to ask for. I don't want my girls to understand submission from a point of need. You get what I mean? Like women need to submit because they need the man. You get what I mean? I should submit because I love you. You get what I mean? Not because I need you. And the moment men think of it that way, then they will stop thinking that successful women are submissive, successful women are, successful women. The words are only successful, independent, professional, strong. Yeah, I want my girls to be successful, independent, strong, professional, and all the names that have been given, ambitious, go-getter, opinionated, because they have a voice, they have opinions, and women need to be listened to, just the same way men are listened to. And but our African society, we do not have room for that. And that's why even in our industry, you'll find so women are not so much into the technical side because we have made to believe that is masculine. It is men who are supposed to be carrying grips. It's men who are supposed to be carrying cameras. Where there is things that involved carrying weights, no, that was for men. And then women should now be producers, just to talk to people, organize things, because as homemakers, we are organize people in the home during parties so we can organize the production. So women can be producers, costume and makeup, because it's easy for women to understand colors and stuff, and maybe production design, camera work, not so much, but a few women are trying, because you still need to carry the camera, and editing, editing, you are going to work late, and as a woman, like a lot of the things in our industry, it's still there because of the social stereotyping, which I want my students to overcome that. Yeah, a few students, of course, right now, we already have very good female editors. We have got some ladies getting into sound, lighting, camera, but we need more. And sometimes it's not because they don't want, it's because you have been made to believe that this is for men. So even before you start, you're already scared, like, hey, will I compete with the men? And this even my girls, even like the 7-year-old, and anytime they're like, Mommy, that's hard. I said, what did we say? We say, I can do it. So as we mentor girls to be empowered, who is mentoring the man to understand the empowered woman? Why can't we ask the men that? Because here are men who are seeing empowered women like Zippy. If I am 41 There's definitely another 41-year-old empowered man who can tell a 10-year-old or 15 or 20-year-old man how to understand these empowered women. So I don't think it should be the obligation of women to empower the man to understand empowered women. It is my obligation as a woman to empower the young women how to understand the man. I don't know whether they're empowered, but the man. Yeah, so if everybody in the society was doing their role in terms of mentorship, then we would not be having the questions of who is empowering the man. I think we have enough men to talk to people. We had uncles, we have aunties, we have got teachers, we have got career mentors and life mentors. And when women are trying to hold each other's hands, it shouldn't be a question of who is going to talk to the man. Because if I decide right now to start mentoring boys, do you know what they'll say? They'll say, I'm making the boys become soft. Boys should not be mentored by women. Women do not understand what men are. I am making them feminine instead of masculine. But the question is, where are the men? You know where they are? Minding their own business, drinking, saying they are working late. It's that kind of thing. And the question is, who is mentoring the man? When divorces happen, the society blames women, right? Who is putting the man down to say you're the head of the family? How did you lead that home? It's always the woman, oh, you did do this, you didn't do that. But what was the man's role? Did he even sit and listen? Did he even care? Did he aggravate the issues? Because the woman walked away. The woman's mistake is always walking away. But nobody ever asks, where did this fish start rotting? I believe film, theater, music are ways in which we can speak to the society to understand some of these ills. Our film, It is Janam, for example, it talks a lot about what Margareta Wagashiru called sexism. It talks about sexism, alcoholism, polygamy, and women breaking boundaries. You get it? Because here is a case where we are having a woman from a rich family meeting a poor man, and together they happily get married, but then there comes a time when this woman wants just to do business, and she wants to enter a race to get money to do her business, which the man has amepiga ikafika chini. But the man says no, because I am also competing. But the woman is like, but it doesn't matter. If you win or I win, the money is coming back to the house. You get what I mean? So the film is set in the 90s, but the reality on the ground right now is that some men, yeah, the reality on the ground is that some men feel threatened if their wives are succeeding. Perhaps they started at the same level. Perhaps they started their careers together. You've heard of people, high school lovers, campus lovers, and they were at the same level. Then even like the woman started a business, the man started a business, then this one, it flourishes. You get it? Yeah, because some people, their hands are just good. When they touch, it grows. Yes, but now instead of the man saying, why don't we put all these things together? We see how to work together. If this business is already sustainable, why didn't you come with this other side? We also make this business sustainable. The man starts feeling jealousy, like, I don't think you should be going that business. It's taking too much of your time. You get it? So if we had film talking about this and addressing them, then people will reflect. Yes, it will help people reflect. Theater, and let me just say, theater or art. Art is a reflection of our society. It's imitation of life, So if it is a reflection, it's an imitation. It's that thing of, it may look as fiction, but it is imitating. It is not coming from nowhere. It is coming from something that has been observed, has been seen, or something that may likely happen. You get it? And somebody can relate to it because it's happening to people in secret. I mean, domestic violence is there. Vera, the other time, was about, trafficking. These are things that are happening. What if more films were talking about real, genuine issues? The people trafficking, like Vera. Which other film is talking about? There was this Safari, which was talking about killing elephants for tasks. A nice entertainment, simple story, but has got substance that can make us change our approach towards people, towards life, our human greed. I think generally it's about human greed. Almost everything is about human greed. That is what brings conflict even amongst people, greed. So maybe if we can use film to empower people, of course for entertainment, let's say entertainment first. Let's find a way of tackling these issues in the entertainment studio, because I mean, when you watch it, you'll laugh from beginning to the end. But when you leave that place, you'll be like, damn, that was deep. Money makes people happy. It makes me happy. Why not? Yeah, money is the end game at the end of it all. I think for me, there's the healing, there's the therapy. I always say sometimes if I've not created, I can't even function at work. Yeah, I find I can't feel like, because my mind, I just feel like there's something boggling my mind. So for me, art is my go-to therapy. I'll write, I'll sing, things will come on my mind and stuff, and I'll write. Thank God for social media. They say storytellers are on Facebook and models are on IG. Yeah, because I mean, IG is mainly for photos, That's why you find responses are few. And then storytellers are on Facebook because you can write a whole paragraph. You can write a whole book on Facebook, kind of limit. Then propagandists are on Twitter. And they are on X. It's called X. Propagandists are on X. And I think TikTok is the only page for fun. Currently, I'm good on TikTok and Facebook, but Facebook is it's the place. I feel at home on Facebook because there I can write and people respond. Actual people respond. On Facebook, you're sure there's an actual person responding. Yeah, so when it comes to success, I have eaten creative money. Yeah, I have eaten creative money. But the most important, I am big on savings. I save a lot. I mean, if from my very first job, I was saving 70%, that should tell you something. I was saving 70%, not 20. I was saving 70% when I had no child, no husband, no nothing, and not even a dream. By the time when I was saving, I didn't even know whether I wanted to do my master's or not. I was just like, let me save. Then in August was when I decided, let me do my master's. I wanted to open a salon on the side. Yeah, hapo near Toy Market. I even went and looked for the place. Then I decided, let me pay for my master's instead of opening that salon. So you have to have an entrepreneur mind to also make it in the creative arts. A lot of us do not have that. A lot of us think, pay me, I go. Very few people talk about shares. Sometimes when I'm even doing my films, I talk to people and I ask them, I don't have a big budget. I want to do this film. I'm looking for people who can come in terms of shares. Would you accept? And people are like, me, just pay me. And I'm like, it's okay, I understand. And I don't hold any bad feelings with them. I understand where they come from. They're not business minded. I am. Because a business person is always ready to take risks. Then you meet other people who are ready to take the risk with you and they're like, wow, I love the idea. Let's do this. Like, yeah. And we do it. And now people are coming and they're like, I want to do with you because they've seen I've done this now like twice with Farah. And they're like, if Farah can believe in this girl twice. Yeah, it's business. It's business. So yes, I've made money. I mean, if I'm doing sold out shows, at least I'm not making losses. Another thing is I pay everyone I pay them what we agree. Yeah, I think, and I treat people well. I think during my shoots, there's something, we always say welfare is everything. We have to ensure watu wamefika nyumbani safe and they're picked safe. If we are picking people from Bata Hilton, then we pick people let's say at 6:30 or 7, not at 4:30. Yes, the welfare is everything, and food on set is important. And sometimes we don't have budgets. A lot of times we don't have budgets. I am an independent filmmaker, and so a lot of times I'm making films from my own savings, except Otis Janam that got a grant. All my other films, I mean, I'm making films from my own pocket. But even that, I try to make people understand. So what happens is I tell people, this is the amount of money we have on this set, and this is how we have planned that's going to work. I don't know how you can come in and help us, or how we can help each other. There can be shares. This is the most we can afford to pay. And if somebody says no, I understand. Because I always say, I don't want to pressure them. The same way I also don't want them to pressure me, yet I'm doing it from my own savings. What are the funding opportunities for Kenyan creatives? One, your own savings, if you can save. I know there are people who will say to you, oh, hiyo pesa tunapata tutasave nini, kuna rent, nini. Let me tell you, you can save. If rent where you're going is so expensive that you can't save, there's definitely a cheaper place. For me, I always say saving is not an issue of, people are not saving because they are living to the post standards. I cannot live in this place because, you know what people think. I mean, my dear, you live wherever you want to live and save and rise. So saving is one. Two, creating collaboration. One, do not be friends with only cameramen. Create a team of, you have a camera person, production designer, so that each of you, if you are 5 of you, and you come together and each of you is bringing in a different skill, you can do a movie. Do movies of 2 people. You have your houses. Create stories that you can do with the limited resources. Because if this film that got a grant waited for 20 years, the others have been independent from my own pocket. We did it with minimal resources. Talking to friends, can I use your house? I have short films in my house, and I'll still shoot some in my house. There's a time I had people saying, do not invest your own money into film, itakunywa maji. It's okay for them, but me, I'm a business person. I say I'm not just a filmmaker, I'm a business person. And business people take risks. Business people put their money into business. And ikikunywa maji, you start again. You look for an alternative. You get what I mean? Yeah, so I can't really say where do you get the money. For me, it's about where do you get the resources. The resources are within us. Not every person you're going to go to is going to accept to work with you, but there's definitely somebody who is also looking for someone to work with them. And for me, that's what happened to me. And let's also be genuine. I think, let's say, someone can read into someone who's not genuine. Yeah, like for me, if I speak to somebody the very first time and I feel they're not genuine, I just keep off. I always say I do not ignore my intuition, especially when it comes to business and creating partnerships. So if you find a genuine person you can do business with, go for it, do business. I mean, if it works, it works. If it works and it breaks later, you say, thank God it worked. Mwendelee na maisha. Because, I mean, business is about relationship. It's a relationship. So you have to continuously talk, communicate. This is working, this is not working. We are making this business, we are not making that business. Right now, even Otis Janam, there are people who have got shares in the film. And we have to be very open with them. We tell them we've sold for this, we've sold for that, and we give them their cuts according to their shares. Because just like you pay tax monthly, if money comes in, give people their shares that monthly. Don't wait for the end of the year to give them theirs, because it's business. The money will get used up. So let's be honest businessmen, something that's very difficult for many people, I must say. But business is a risk, and start with what you have. Right, nowadays people have got phones that can shoot on 4K. If you have got 3 people with phones that can shoot on 4K, why not? Yeah, come talk to Justus. I mean, Justus has equipment. You have a story, Justus has equipment. Another person can direct, and another person has just been like, gosh, I need to get back on stage. I mean, if all these people with such a deep desire to do something came together, the question is, why not? I look at it differently. If I saved 300,000 to do a film, because I have got everything equipment, I will do that one film a year. But if I had like 6 friends, each of us do 50,000. You know, with that my 300,000, it means I can do 50,000. How many times? 6 times. It means if we are working together, each person contributing 50,000, that we have equipment and these resources, we can do 6 films in a year. Yeah, somebody will say, but at least if I sell this movie, I can get 1 million alone. But if you sell the 6 movies, you guys will get 6 million and you will be able to get that 1.2. You have 200,000 extra. You get what I mean? And also, if you use that money, yote inaweza kunywa maji na imekunywa yako peke yako. It's business, it's a risk. If you are 6 people, you will only have lost 50,000. So it's a 50-50. It's a 50-50. Yeah, right now I'm big on partnerships and collaboration. Yeah, but also if this is your business, invest in it, invest the time, invest the money. Yeah, just like you're going to drink and going on holiday, invest all that in it. And also sometimes just be a Kenyan. Being a Kenyan, I always say, there's no Kenyan who just does one business. As much as we are creatives, let's be Kenyans. It means if it's in the film industry, you must be able to do 2 things. Be a cinematographer and an editor. You get what I mean? Don't just be mimi hiyo ni kamera tu hizo zingine hapana mtafute mtu. Hapana, be a cinematographer, editor, colorist, as in do even 3-4 things so that kama huyu hayuko unaweza fanya hivi. And when you get that money, I mean, do a side hustle hapa, you know. There are a lot of side hustles.